Welcome to the downside. I'm here. I just looked at the eclipse.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't do the calendar. Fuck.
It's okay.
Do you have a permanent marker? No, it's not okay. Do you have a marker over there? Do you have a marker over there?
Can I say I don't understand what the calendar is?
So the calendar, because we
You
released
keep mentioning it, and I don't know.
because we release these episodes in advance, hence the fact that there's an eclipse today, even though this is coming out in 3 weeks. The calendar is a little Easter egg, so you know when we actually recorded it.
Oh, okay.
So why don't you take that permanent marker right there?
Yeah.
This could be your new job. This feels like a fun, like,
Okay.
Russell's
What do I
here.
do? And I would mark the day.
Yeah, I circle the day that it is. X out the one. Oh my God, it's my sounds. What a disaster. We need to fix headphones. My headphone keeps going in and out. Hello, hello, hello.
What's also kind of rad is maybe we just try and convince people there was a second eclipse.
Sure.
And
I
they
mean,
just missed it.
maybe we release this so far away from now. It is in time. Okay, it's back for a second. We need new headphones. Welcome. This is a chaotic show.
Can I say something also about eclipses? They keep saying every time we have one, they're like, this is a once in a lifetime thing, but we had one in 2017. And I just looked at both of them, and unscientifically, they seemed the same to me when I saw the 2017
Yeah.
one and the 2024 one. So I'm confused.
I got glasses and looked.
Did you notice a big difference?
No. But can we turn on the lights in here? I can't see.
Oh, good one.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, really? Man, I guess they have some like new eclipse technology I didn't really get the memo about.
Here's the bottom line. I don't want to yuck anyone's yum.
No, and it's cool.
But it is not cool at all.
No, it's a little cool to look
It's-
and see the sun.
It's a little bit cool. I just like wish more people got that enthused about other stuff that was actually important, you know?
Yeah.
It's like everyone's planning to watch this right now, and it's like,
We need like glasses to watch the war crimes in Palestine.
Yeah.
And then people will be geared up about that.
Yeah.
we give them glasses to watch anything at all, you know?
Also, people are buying those glasses. It's not like they're just given out for free. I mean,
I was looking on the street. I thought, is everything okay?
Oh, nice, cool. Sorry, yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Hey.
I was shocked that people weren't selling them. When the earthquake happened, I saw some guy's store was selling I survived the New York earthquake that day.
Okay, that's actually an epic shirt.
Yeah.
It's
I
incredible.
would love that shirt.
yeah.
But would it be fun now? It would be fun that day.
No, it'll be fun.
I think it'd be fun if, like, in 2 years you saw
Yeah.
somebody wearing a shirt that said, I survived the earthquake, and you're like, which one? You remember that one in New York that one time? You're like, oh, yo.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel a little new side hustle coming on for me.
Sure, there was that. I remember Kobe O'Brien. That's
Kobe O'Brien.
Kobe.
O'Brien.
Oh, Brian.
Yeah.
Oh,
He was
Kobe.
the first. That was the first Irish basketball player. Yeah. Yeah, he was pretty.
He did not score very much at all.
No, he never
His
played.
death was not memorialized by anyone.
No.
They sold those shirts fast.
Yeah.
But I had this thought. I said, well, no one does this in New York. The way my mind works, I said, next Eclipse, I'm fucking out
You're
there.
going to sell glasses on the street?
I don't care where my career is at. I'm
Yeah.
going to go back down to table selling these glasses. I would have paid
A Venmo? Yeah.
I would have paid $50 in this moment. Looking back, I would have paid $0.
Yeah. Wait, like right now, if you were like, I'm desperate to see this.
He
eclipse.
was desperate. He was
Okay.
like,
You got here. Don't act like you weren't excited.
was
You got here
desperate.
early.
Yeah, I wanted to
You've never
see-
been here early in the entire history of the podcast, and you came for the eclipse.
You guys have been here. I mean, I didn't want to like put you guys on blast, but you guys have been sleeping here for a few days because you're like, I don't want to miss this eclipse. That calendar bit was all. This is pre-planned.
Yeah.
We shot this 3 weeks ago.
I was in Texas this morning, and everyone's flying there because if you're in the right line of the eclipse, it goes completely dark.
That's awesome.
That seems cool.
Yeah, that seems cool.
You know where else is completely dark?
Alaska.
In your house at night.
Oh, yeah.
If you close your eyes.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
the anti-science podcast.
Yeah.
You fucking nerds.
Yeah.
Get a
right.
life. Take your
Anyways.
glasses, shove them up your ass. This is the downside.
1, 2, 3. Downside. Downside.
You're listening to The Downside
The downside.
with Gianmarco Soresi.
Can I say something about the earthquake?
Yeah.
2 days after the earthquake, someone from out of state texted me asking me if I was okay. And I'm like how? There was, when the news, it would be strange if only one person was affected by the earthquake and hurt in New York City, and it was me.
one guy.
And they didn't report on it. Like, yeah, there was one death. Sorry, we forgot to mention it on the news.
I would have fucked with them. You know what I would have done? I would have done like, hey, it's Nicole. Thanks for checking in. Nicole's his wife. Here's a true story. I don't know if I've shared it before. Where I went to a summer camp when I was younger.
Oh, you've definitely shared it before.
But it was early. But it was I made some friends. A girl I had a crush on.
Awful.
It was like a pubescent summer. Like people kissing.
Go on.
Hand over the bra, exciting. And they it was during AIM. And
During
did you
AIM?
say AIM?
I said AIM. I was weirded out by the AIM crowd.
I said, let me think about it.
I thought you said that in the
AIM,
conversation every time. You said, let me think about it and get back
I
to
think
you.
I said AIM.
I said AIM, but people do AIM for sure.
Yeah, it was a regional thing, and I never quite figured out where the splits were.
Yeah.
It's like there's a perfect part of it where you could see AIM in total, in all its glory, kind of like this Eclipse.
Yeah.
But everywhere else was AIM country.
Yeah.
So this group, I don't know how. I don't know if it was coordinated. I don't know if I wasn't liked. I mean, this was a pivotal moment. They all ghosted me like at once. Oof. So it was like I thought it was like a friend group that I joined later. And then there was a girl I had a crush on. I thought we were flirting, but there was another guy who liked her. So I'm going to pin it on him.
Yeah.
But ultimately, all of them vanished on me.
And I'm sorry about that. We just didn't really feel like a connection with you. We thought you were the weird kid
the
from out of
weird one,
town.
the
Yeah,
weird one.
yeah.
I was going through a skaterboy phase, so there was a lot of weirdness going on.
What did you ride? What type of decks?
This is.
He wasn't skateboarding.
I wasn't skateboarding.
He was just horny. He was just horny posing as a skateboarder.
Did you at least have skateboard shoes?
Some Vans. See, I was kicking it in some Vans.
Oh my
some
God.
independent hoodies.
Some airwalks.
I owned a skateboard and I would take it to the grass and just do a manual in the grass. I couldn't hold it for 3 seconds if it was really deep in the dirt.
Oh yeah, if you got that mud grip in there, you could really just sink into the grass like that.
You were a skater boy?
We were called the gnarliers at my school. They called us the gnarliers.
Who called you that?
You know, it was kind of like self-imposed. Teachers, the guy that bought cigarettes for the group. We would look at them, we wouldn't smoke them. We were kind of like, we started our own little Jackass crew at the time. Because my holy trinity as a kid was South Park, Jackass, and Ollie G. And Jackass was like that, maybe 4th grade to like 8th grade. It really had a chokehold on me.
Really?
And our group was called SOS, Save Our Souls. And we had videos out there. Like, we branded one of our friends. I dropped a basketball off a bridge onto some kid's nuts. Like,
Oh my God.
I was
Did he get hurt?
Oh yeah, he was like pissing blood for a few days.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was rough. And then I was like easily, like, I tried to take credit of like being in the group, but I was like by far the biggest pussy in the group. Like, I did not do any tricks. I was like kind of like, yeah,
You like dropped the ball from the standing.
yeah.
That's it.
And I'm like, I'll drop the ball so I'm in on this thing.
Yeah.
Or I'll be like hype manning it up. But I had like Bam Margera energy with like zero delivery. And it's tough to reconcile with, but it's the truth,
Wait, were you filming it?
No, please. I was one step above the camera guy.
Oh no, sorry.
It was
but
on YouTube.
The group was filming it.
Oh yeah,
though,
it was
and showing people.
I have a lot on my like family's like video recorder. Like a lot of this footage lives there on my friend Jordan Felix's hard drive somewhere.
What other pranks? So there's basketball in the nuts.
We had we did some like shopping carts. We did some like bush jumping, like just jumping off like trees or houses into bushes, thinking it was funny. We did some like staple to the leg.
Oh.
I know. My friend Robbie was like an amazing gymnast. Man, these are like all these like names and faces I've not thought of in 25 years, But like Robbie was really good at backflips. So like a lot of the video was him like backflipping off stuff and us being like, yo,
Yeah.
And then the skating part of it,
So
I was like a
cool.
decent skater, but I, nothing to write home about. But I can still kind of kickflip sometimes. I can still get off the ground. I can grind a little bit. But it's
I really was introduced to skateboarding through Tony Hawk, the video game.
of course.
And when I found out how inaccurate grinding was in real life compared to the video game, I was shocked.
It's when you like board slide the first time and you shoot the board out and you land on the rail on your tailbone and you're like, oh, this sucks. Like, it really sucks.
But in Tony Hawk, you'd like grind and you'd like grind for 30 seconds, like just and just hop. And grinding at most is like off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
that's
seem
so,
like you would have had finger skateboards too. That seems like something you'd be into.
you know it.
Like a
Yeah.
miniature.
But guess what? I never rode. I was too scared. I would take the finger skateboard in the grass and do a little
shaking.
They were fun for a second, but I never learned the tricks.
I remember one kid was like really good at it in my school.
Yeah.
He didn't do a lot of other things, but I remember thinking,
Dox him.
wow,
What's
that
his
guy's
name?
got him. Actually, I don't remember his name, but I remember I can see him.
You're
in
winking
class.
at me and you're doing kind of Morse code with your eyebrows right now.
If that was a skill that you've been hiding this whole
Oh
time.
my God, I'm like really
oh,
good at it. Yeah.
God. You didn't do any weird like I did. Mine was my age. What age was this?
Like when Jackass was happening.
Yeah, or when you were doing the basketball to the nuts.
That was like 6th, 7th grade.
6th, 7th
Between
grade.
like 10 and 12.
Yeah.
Classic boy age.
Mine was, I don't know. I never had groups of friends, so I did it all by myself. That's why I never learned how to skateboard. I did it on my own. I did popping and locking, as we talked earlier. I did digits.
Yes.
Where that's like all the finger stuff.
Hacky sack?
I know I don't have the coordination.
No, I know. It just seems like you.
Is that what you did?
No. But
What did you do? Were you just a cool, normal kid? No weird things.
I was no.
Just
I
jerking
wasn't-
off your whole
just jerking off. Mainly jerking off. Mainly jerking off and trying to have no one see me.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
know? Yeah.
That's like cool
Yeah.
and sick. Yo, are you that jerking off guy who would jerk off by himself? Yo, I know you.
Yeah. But you seems like you maybe would have dabbled with hacky for a little bit. I could see you having that.
I think like skateboarding, and breakdancing, there were so many things I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But I lacked all the physical strength or coordination to do them.
How did you get into breakdancing?
I think my sister is a dancer. Katie Cagle is a dancer. And so she took hip hop classes. There were like 2 guys at my high school who did pop and lock for real.
Got it.
One of them, the
for real.
Like
though.
they can really pop and
one of them
lock.
was the infamous. Do you remember we talked about that guy a long time ago?
Yeah.
He was. We might have to bleep it, but he was a nurse that went viral during the pandemic because he could.
Wait, was he a nurse or a doctor?
He was a doctor.
Okay.
Okay. Give him credit. He went to school for a long time for that. So
Yes, let's give him credit. Let's also credit his accusers that came forward a year later that ultimately led to the end of the.
Whoa, I don't know any of this, and I love it. I love this guy.
So you went to high school with the. He's
Yeah,
a
He
serial.
was your best friend, you said.
he was my
Yeah.
best friend.
Probably your biggest influence.
Yeah.
professionally,
Just with women.
romantically.
It's kinda
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Not dance at all.
No
He'd
male
go
friendships.
all the time on his private plane.
Yeah. Well, his pro boat and his plane.
You think the an island? It would be like
Yeah.
condo.
Your name's all over his
Yeah,
ledger.
you got to see.
You're the only guy in the flight log.
Oh.
So I got into it through that, and I took breakdancing with these guys who just were naturally coordinated, and without any of the muscle tone. I would be like, I'm going to learn how to do a bridge where you go on a handstand, but arc over and
yeah.
then land in the back. And I twist my ankle immediately, and it was like, yeah, maybe go to the gym first. Maybe climb one rope before you do high level
rope.
gymnastics. Just one. So
Did you have an influence that got you into dancing that where you're like, I'm gonna try this now? Was it
Mr. Wiggles was my favorite guy. Mr. Wiggles, who I've tried to get on the pod, not very responsive.
Dang.
Mr. Wiggles, he was I ordered VHSs from Mr. Wiggles off his store that he probably shipped himself.
Yeah.
And
Where did you find his work?
he was one of the original B-boys.
Uh-huh.
And I listened to, oh my God, I even forget the music, but I was just into, it was 4 guys who invented the dance form. It's cool to be to feel like you're part of an evolving
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Well, you never finished your story about what you did to that group of people, though.
Yeah.
So I think part of the reason where they ghosted me is we had all said that we were going to make plans to hang out that winter break or something, ambitious for the age that we were at.
No.
And they didn't get back. So I think around winter break, where it was we were going to do this hangout, supposedly, I wrote them all and I said, hi, this is Gianmarco's mom. This is a big group chat. This is Gianmarco's mom. I'm very sorry to inform you that earlier this morning, my son took his own life.
The first thing I did as a mother is go on AIM. Message
And
all
not a
his friends.
single one of them responded.
Wow. And then what happened when you went to school? Sorry,
Those
my mom
different
was just
schools.
being crazy.
Different schools.
Okay, different schools.
So I
So
just
these
never-
people think that they killed someone, and they're just walking around, and hopefully they've seen your
That's
viral
why I've been-
content since.
That's why I've
and
been
they're
so
like, Jesus,
determined
wow.
to get famous,
Wow.
is so that they can see me and be relieved that I've made it.
Yeah.
Dude.
Oh,
Have you talked to any of them at all since then?
I mean,
Do you,
I was.
remember, do you remember their names? Could you look them up?
Dox them.
Yeah.
I-
yeah.
I would.
I'm bringing I'm having fun today. It's an Eclipse day. I'm feeling wacky.
I would have to look. I don't even know where I'd begin to look. 'cause
Where would you
AIM
look? The AIM
Well,
records?
they deleted the records.
Yeah. Oh.
And they announced it a couple years ago, and I wish I had pulled it because I feel like that's such a snapshot of all our lives.
Oh my
Yeah.
god! Do you remember you'd make like your profile and your like away messages? I had like really funny. I had
Yeah.
like the funny away messages, and it was like you put like your top 5 or your best friends in there. You're like LOL, and you like laugh. I felt like my like profile felt like a Drake album with like all of the features, and it was like way too many things. And it's like, all right, buddy, we get it. You got all these people on your album, but like, there's no substance here, And
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I was happy. I'm happy that it's been deleted.
Yeah.
There were things I asked out a girl. She had an AIM like in her profile. You could ask a question and they'd get a message.
Ugh.
And I asked her out, and we started dating. Never saw each other, and
Yeah.
then she broke up with me before summer ended, and I
Yeah.
got a chance to.
Wow.
I had a few random girlfriends like that.
Yeah.
in, like middle school, where it's like you date for 2 days, and you're like, but then they broke my heart, and it's like they live somewhere else. And I pray that they were actually the age that they were and the person that they were, because
Yeah.
that's a whole separate thing. I
Yeah.
think I didn't think about.
If she wasn't underage, I'm gonna be pissed.
Oh, she wasn't underage when I was underage.
Yeah.
I'll be fucking furious.
If she was an FBI informant, I'm gonna
My
be furious.
God.
He's got a lot of pictures of me that I would like back right away. You ever do anything on AIM?
Not like
Not
that.
like
no. Not like
You ever
that.
commit a crime on AIM?
not still active.
No, I was not meeting new people on AIM. I was only talking to like friends from school. Yeah.
We were there for the beginning.
Yeah,
we were there
we
for
were.
the beginning
Early
of
days.
the
We saw the
deterioration of
beginning.
humankind.
Yeah.
We were
That
there.
is crazy that we were there. We were first.
And we were first, like, because unlike some things in society, it didn't start with the adults and trickle down. It
No.
started
It
right
started
with
with
us.
us.
It started. They gave that's why they had to deal with. Speaking of all those predators online, because it was like
Yeah.
they gave you the AOL CD. Your parents didn't know how to use it.
No.
They didn't know what AIM was. They thought that when they were like they would ground me from AOL that this was a separate thing.
Uh-huh.
They didn't know that it was a separate thing.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm not going
You're
to
like,
use my
I
AOL.
can't see the weather for today. Please, Mom and Dad.
Yeah.
Mom, come on.
Can't see the news.
Yeah. Oh God. But I do remember being at like birthday parties and people would like go on at chat rooms and stuff, and that always scared me.
I didn't
Like I would be like farther back from the computer, being like, "Oh God, who are you people talking to?" You know what I mean?
I remember a chat where I don't know what it was, and some guy kept going. I can't give it away without saying it. He just kept going KKK, and I thought he was saying okay vigorously. And then there was at one point where I was like, "Oh, Ku Klux Klan!
Oh,
I got to get out of this chat."
That's crazy because to me, I would have thought you were going to say, I thought he was saying Ku Klux Klan, but he was just saying KKK, but you were actually in a nationalist. You met a nationalist online.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, I thought
Why-
this.
why
I
did
thought
he
this
have
was
to keep
a,
saying
a
it?
Nazi group." I don't. It was. I'm sure it was a kid. I'm sure it was
KKK.
you in the
was
chat,
me.
just like being an edgelord, early edgelord.
Early edgelord.
Me and the gnarliers.
I know
causing
one
problems.
phrase. Just like, yeah, KKK.
I mean, this was when edgelord. It was okay. It was like, okay, that's the worst you could do. Now they fucking swat you.
God.
They.
God, lost too many, gone too soon.
Yeah.
What? Okay. What? You know how there's Amish, the Amish, no electricity.
Yeah.
What if I propose? I go, okay, listen, we don't want to do no electricity. We go back to an earlier form of electronic media. So we go back to AIM.
What do we
and
lose?
that's like where
What
we
do
stop.
lose?
We lose, Twitter.
TikTok.
We lose
TikTok,
TikTok.
We go back to LimeWire and BearShare.
Yeah.
Kazaa,
Just
depending
down,
on
when I could
just
download
downloading Saddam Hussein getting hung.
Dude, I
you
mean,
know, like
that was it. It was like I watched so much
Horror.
horrible shit as
Horror.
a child. Like just people getting their arms ripped
Yeah.
off and blown off.
Oh.
this
oh,
person
yeah.
thrown off a bridge.
Yeah. You're like, okay, I think that person really just got executed
Yeah.
in front of me right here, because that's what that shit became. Like how Twitter has become that. It's just like horrible.
Yes.
It's either like war porn or like porn, or it's like my alpha male brain, my brain's functioning on an alpha male level. Are you ready to take the plunge?
Yeah.
It's like, that's
It's that
horrible.
steroid guy. It's the
yeah.
he eats raw meat.
Liver King or
Liver
whatever.
King. And he's been exposed for steroids, and every comment under the ad is, you use steroids, you use steroids. There's a community note. He used steroids, but he's still advertising.
There's stuff that
That's how
pops up
stupid
like
it
that
is.
where I'm like, and every time I'm like, I'm not interested in this, blah blah. And I'm like, how is he breaking through all this and being shown? And then there's this one game, this like couple's playing with rocks and that like a magnet. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do know what you're
And
talking
I'm like,
about.
I'm sick of fucking seeing that. And every time it pops up, I'm like, I don't want to see this fucking ad anymore. And it's just Liver King and that couple playing that game, and it's all day long. and I hate it.
We're having Elon on next week, so let's talk to him about
Yeah.
changes.
What if you just I don't know, what if you listen to the adverts? Take it.
That's
What
true.
you
What
should
if I
become-
bought everything?
You should become the Liver King.
Yeah.
Liver King 2.
Oh man.
We were texting recently about hip hop classes,
Yes.
and then we started talking about shrooms,
Yes.
and there was-
Allegedly, if there's
Allegedly.
any FBI AIM chatbots on here.
And then there was one moment in the text where I feel like I saw the real difference between who you and I are as human beings.
Oh God.
Can I read? It's not bad.
I swear I didn't write that slur. That was not.
That's where I would
my
never
little-
say that word.
My little brother stole my phone.
All right, let me see. So we were talking about shrooms, and I was saying like, oh, they didn't take as many as me, but it was the first time. We still had a good time. I wasn't complaining.
Yeah, let's read the full text.
So we talked about ayahuasca. You said I've never tried ayahuasca, and I said I think my biggest fear is I won't see something or have a revelation, and then I'll get sad that there's no new drug that could get me there. You know, it's the fear
Yeah.
of the atheist.
Yeah.
And you said, brother, what if I told you the greatest drug was life, and you're seeing something every day? And I said, all right, this is going to be an interesting episode. I said, wow, that's the joy.
Hey.
That's the joy that makes me believe I could never be a clown. Because I was watching a bunch of your stuff today, and your comedy partner, Vigo, who you got to watch it. It was. I'm sure he has more transgressive stuff, but this was the Britain's Got Talent,
Oh yeah.
and it was. I mean, it was fantastic. It's so good, but it's so full of joy, in a way that I'm like, I don't have that in my heart. If I was a
I think you
clown,
do.
I think you do.
not this in moments, but like it is an overpouring of just joy and happiness. And I don't know if there's cranky clowns, but
There are.
I don't know if
Oh,
the
yeah.
cranky clowns win Britain's Got Talent. The cranky clown goes, Simon, you're a cunt.
No, and well, Vigo Venn is he's my best friend and comedy partner. He's also just a clown of a generation. Like that man is. There's nothing he can do that doesn't make you fall in love with him. And then when he is, so his baseline is like you already love him, and then you throw in the fact that this guy is the funniest, silliest, stupidest guy in the world. It's like, you know, there's a reason he's now rich and famous and successful, and everybody loves him. You know,
Yeah.
he's in. I don't know if how many of his videos you watched, but if you watched his semifinals piece where he did the "My Name Is" with the
Yes, I did.
and there's a moment at the end where he falls face first down the stairs and then lands in the most. It's the best pratfall that like scientifically I don't understand how he did it. Like I've seen that man fall so many times, and he fully ate it and it went like dung 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 like down every single step, and then landed like this on the final one. And I was like, in that moment, I was like, he's gonna win. You know, he's gonna win. There's no way. There's and bless them. There's no way that the one-legged 10-year-old and the 12-year-old autistic magician are going to beat him at this point. And it is also deeply funny.
I saw it, this montage I saw. It just cut to the finals and them telling the one-legged kid to
Yeah.
go away.
Yeah, sorry,
It was
buddy.
What did the one-legged kid do?
He was dancing,
Dancer?
kinda dancing and rapping, like dancing and singing a little bit.
Yeah, if you're gonna dance with one leg, you gotta have some
Nothing
rapping on
worse
top.
That undercut of kinda.
Yeah, well, and I didn't mean it like that. It was
Yeah,
more
yeah.
like I think it was just like performance was the genre.
Yeah. Okay.
But it is deeply funny that there are these, you know, teenagers going
Children.
against my friend who
Yeah.
is a guy who is, you know, 33, 34-year-old clown ripping high vis vests off one after another over and over, and just like it wasn't even close. He destroyed these kids.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
I
it's
fucking
just
love
I think clowning is, especially just that kind of work. People need to watch it, but it's like as a stand-up comedian, like I'm like, well, worst case scenario, I got these jokes, these firm punchlines, and he is going out there and he's doing this thing where he plays the "Hi, my name is," and he sticks out the mic and gets like each judge to say their name, and then it replays, and then he mouths them doing it.
Yeah.
And some of the judges are like, there was one judge who's like, he can't shut up. He like keeps talking and he won't really do the game.
They
And
ruined
there's
it.
so many ways that they ruined it. And he's got to like not even fucking show a moment of you fucking asshole.
Every single one of them botched it. All you had to do was just say your name, and all of them would go, my name is Chiki Chiki, and it was just so cringe. And if this was any other audience, we would have stopped the show and absolutely lit these people on fire.
Yeah.
And, you know, chucked them out, had fun with it, and then pray that didn't happen again, and then hopefully someone does it again because we've now established that as like a fun thing. But in this one where it's like, this is live, and your money and your spot in this competition depends on it, you just have to...
It's incredible. But as a performer,
keep
you're
smiling.
watching it and you're like, God
Come
damn
on,
it.
you
You fucking...
Who are they? Who are the judges?
Simon Cowell, Bruno European man,
It's British.
whoever the British Nicole Scherzinger is,
Okay, yeah.
and someone else.
Well, I'm so... I got the chance finally. It took me way too long to see Stamptown in Austin. And as I was assured by everyone who had gone, I loved it so much. And it made me like, I think it just revitalized we do a sketch team. We're on a sketch team together.
Yes.
And Uncle Function.
Yes,
Yes.
dude, I've seen you perform at Asylum before.
Thanks, man. Yeah,
Yes.
I've
He
seen
didn't
you
say
too.
it was good. He just
Yeah,
said
yeah,
he
yeah.
saw
Whoa,
it.
whoa,
I've
whoa.
He literally
seen
just
you-
said I
I've seen
saw
you in
it.
a building before.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I saw you once in life in my life.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
You
I
said
appreciate
thank
you.
you. Said
man.
thank you, like he said, and you were really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and,
Anyway, you're-
Oh,
just
thanks,
wait till
man.
I tell you my thoughts on that
Oh, I
performance.
can't wait.
But it was. I think the one thing that I felt that was so nice to see is like there was sex was part of the comedy. Like there was a sexuality to the whole thing, and I was like, oh yeah, this is what can be fun about live comedy in a way that feels. As a comedian, it's so hard to ever feel like, whoa, I cannot believe they did that. Because you get so used to it. We grew up on South Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's very hard to offend me
Yeah.
or
Or shock.
shock.
Yeah.
But you know what I don't see that often is a guy whipping out his testicles on stage, and if it's in the right setting,
Yeah.
and not in a backstage green room like I'm with you,
Yeah.
then it's like, oh, this is so exciting. Everyone feels like, oh my God, and it was just so cool to have that feeling again.
Man, that's really nice to hear. Also, that was my favorite part of your set was when you guys brought me back to the green room after your show and showed me your testicles one
Yeah.
by one.
Yeah.
Like one by one by one by one.
Yeah.
That rocked.
It's a staple of our show.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It takes forever. We have to write each audience member individually.
Oh, everyone gets the treatment?
Yeah. Sorry to break that.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, for me, like, I mean, I don't know how like nerdy to go down the clown hole. Horrific.
Yeah, that's a terrible way to put it.
Sorry.
Down the clown hole. We got the title
down
right
the
there.
clown hole.
Sometimes it just emerges.
That's a nightmare.
Down the clown hole.
No,
With Zach Zucker.
no, I hate it. Like, you know, to me, but clown can be kind of used as like a mirror for a lot of different things. But for me, the training that I got at this clown school in France, our teacher also taught us we did a big vaudeville unit, which is like, you know, fun, fast-paced farce, over-sexualized, you know, like Italian grand opera, really kind of Faulty Towers, like John Cleese type style stuff. And that to me is what I love the most about the show is like, it's not a comedy lineup show. It is a variety. It's like a vaudevillian variety show run by clowns. And we usually have some circus acts in there to kind of like, you know, add to the spectacle of it. That's like my ideal version of it. And like the South by shows were really fun. You know, we're obviously working with whatever they've got there, but like that hypersexual absurdity, like, hey, everybody loves each other. You know, I think of my best friend, Natalie Palamides, who's an amazing performer. Like she and I, we've probably touched or licked or bit each other's private parts more than most other people I've ever had in my life in a personal romantic way. And it's always done in a completely like with love, non-sexualized way of doing it where it's like, yo, I got your back. Let's just try and get the funniest laugh out there.
You picked her up at one point. It looked like by her nipples, and it was just the kind of thing that you can't help but go, "Oh my God!
Yeah.
Oh no, they're gonna pop off. I don't even know what
Yeah.
happens."
Yeah.
But it was a wild moment.
Yeah.
It was
Now let me
awesome.
ask: now your nudity level? Have you gone full nude on stage?
Oh yeah, my first solo show, I used to finish singing out of my ass, but it was to an R. Kelly song, and I had to retire that bit. let's not talk about that one. But
Wait, what song?
When a Woman Loves.
Now, this was definitely at least after the tapes had leaked. You just mean then he was convicted.
Yeah, this was like,
And that's
you know,
your
this was
line
like
for
a
morality
while
is
back
when the
that-
legal system finally steps in.
It was more like 2023, 2024 is when I stopped. He's not just our Kelly, he's our Kelly, you know?
You would fully naked
Yeah.
face the audience and like talking style, like
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Like Opa talking style. I would
Full-
really, yeah.
full asshole.
Full ass. I've gotten, you know, look, if the show I've gotten better over the years. I'd say like 2017 and 2018 was the most unwell I was on stage because we were just touring really badly. And that's when I was naked more because I had less material. But then as I've gotten better better at coming up with material, the nudity is now just like when the show needs it. So like, you know, we have this epic whips and fire guy among many other talents, our buddy Marshall Arkley, who's a fantastic variety performer. And he does like a routine where he like puts like flowers in his mouth and he whips them out of his mouth. And I'll come out on stage and I'll like hold a flower and he'll whip it out of my hand. And then I'll like pretend to leave. And I've got like these tearaway pants on and he'll rip my pants off. And then I'm naked. And then he like takes a
and then
flower.
you turn around and sing an R. Kelly song with your asshole.
Well, look, R. Kelly, XXX Tentacion, you know, they're all kind of the same. at this point.
An incredible pull of the reference. XXX
I was fighting
Tentacion.
for my life there. But then he'll put a flower at my ass and then like light it on fire and whip it out, you know, just like normal stuff.
Yeah.
You before you show your asshole on stage, you going in a mirror, making sure everything's looking fine.
Please, I'm always stage ready. Covered in shit, running down.
I had so we had one sketch where I wear this little thong. Compared to this, it's pathetic. It's cowardly. But I had a thing with them where I said I should do it naked, and no one was into it.
Listen.
No one was into it,
I-
and I think there's such a mix of me where there's part of me that is like a stand-up comedian, and like I do think it's not a degree of cool of being a stand-up, but there is a certain degree of like. I don't think a lot of stand-up comedians get nude on stage. Period.
No, 'cause
and then there's a
stand-up
part
is
of me that
cool.
that goes like, that's so funny, and that's so. What's funnier and what's more vulnerable and exposing, and then the Borat scene.
Yeah.
Then the
Yeah.
Borat scene where
Yeah.
they're wrestling around.
Yeah.
And could we do that scene?
Yeah.
If we needed to for a movie.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think when it was happening, I could have been swayed initially, but then I felt like everyone was so against it,
Everyone was so against
and
it.
also
And it made me really sad. It made me go, oh, are we not? I felt like that's what made me feel artistic and like your text about life, where I was like,
But
oh, are we not-
I also in the context of that sketch would it then just be that, you know what I mean, instead of like
he's him and his wife are going to a place where eating sushi off a naked body. It's me, not a naked, a thong, but instead of sushi, it's deli meats. And it's basically exposed that they're the parents of my ex-fiance.
so
and I'm
he's
learning-
like he's learning information about his ex-fiance.
That's how well she's doing, and then I
Yeah.
cry. And he takes a shot of vodka out of my belly button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the one sketch. I think seeing your show, I'm like, oh, what do we do that makes sense in the clowning world? And it's like that. I just love it.
Yeah.
I really did love it.
Well,
and I'm
next
gonna
time we
get
do it,
Russell to
let's
go.
do it. Next time we do it,
Next time you pitch getting naked, they don't like it. You should have text everyone the next day. Hey, this is Gianmarco's mom.
you have to let him show you his dick. You have to let him show you his dick.
It's funny though, because our problems are the opposite. Where I'm backstage fighting with everyone, being like, "Guys, we have too much nudity tonight. Like, there's nowhere else to go at this point. So we gotta kind of wrap this shit up." Because like, also this guy Marshall, fuck it, we're gonna get there. He does an amazing character called a routine called Throb the Builder, where he comes out and he does blockheads. So he like nails stuff up his nose and takes a drill up his nose. And he's also known in the sounding community, and he takes a drill and drills down his penis. And that
What is what?
it's exactly what I mean. Sounding is the act of putting stuff down your urethra.
Oh,
And
He puts a drill in his urethra.
puts a drill in his urethra.
Oh my
stage?
god!
Swirls it around. Yeah. I've got pictures on my phone. I got videos.
Oh
of it.
my God.
He's remarkable. He's a
how do people?
I
react to
downloaded that off LimeWire when I was a kid.
and then
How
he blew up.
how do audiences react? They scream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I am unfortunately now so desensitized to it that like if I talk about it enough, I'll get the stomach pain that I think you guys are having right now, where you feel the phantom like pains of something
Yeah.
inside of your penis.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like it's never like an amazing finale just because the mood is so good and we're ready to take it home, and that then splits the crowd so hard. But for me, it's hilarious to watch that happen. Like, it's so funny knowing we don't have to have them react this way, but it is hilarious to watch everyone kind of just walk out like, I don't know what
That's
I just
gotta
saw.
fuck up his penis. I mean, when he's peeing, is it like
Dude, he's got a monster
like
cock.
yeah, we all have monster cocks. You put a drill in it, it expands it. That's artificial monster cock. But I just imagine it's loose. It's like a drainage pipe when he pees. It just kind of.
I honestly don't know. We've kept it pretty professional.
Is it? And not to. Is there any degree of like in a post Me Too world? Is there anything when it comes to clowning where it's like, how in God's name do you navigate if someone goes, oh, I wasn't prepared to see a penis with the drill in it. Like
Our
like,
content warnings when you walk into the show, when you get emailed, are pretty intense.
yeah, what do they say?
It's everything. You know, it's every warning you could think of possible.
Nudity. Graphic.
Done. Nudity, you know, gunshot sound effects, explosion sound effects, simulated violence, simulated sex, like, you know, possibility of intercourse, like pyro,
Possibility of
fire.
intercourse.
Possibility of
You gotta
intercourse?
cover your bases just in case something
Yeah.
crazy happens.
I want to add that to my stand-up shows. Not that it'll
God.
change it at
Yeah.
all, but just to get people like, what's going to happen at this thing?
And I think, you know, we kind of ride a line between like, vaudeville and cabaret and circus, where it's like circus is hot, circus is fucking sexy and horny, and like I want everyone to leave our shows. It's obviously something we think about all the time, and especially with our crew and like having, you know, the safety of people like of all genders and all identities being naked on stage in the shows. It's like, well, one, we don't book any perverts yet.
Sure.
We're gonna get Dalia, and then like
If you got Dalia, but to do the show, he had to put the drill in his urethra, I
have
think
him
people
do
would
that.
be behind that.
Well, the thing I was said like I'll have Louis on the show, but he has to jack off in front of everybody.
Yeah.
You got to come clean.
Wow.
And if you're willing to face them, he doesn't need to. But it's like if you want to do the show, then you got to masturbate in front of everybody. And
Let
then
me tell you what, that's one way to get Russell to Stamptown.
so Gianmarco's going to be doing his Louis impression.
I want to play this one clip that was so funny as I watched it, and I was shocked. I was like, oh, that's, and you'll see. Can you play it? This is Hillary Clinton talking to a master clown in France for some show.
Oh, yeah.
Philippe, what's the difference for a woman in comedy than a man in comedy? Can they do the same thing?
Comedy is okay, but clown is more difficult.
Yes.
Because if you are a young boy, you come home, your costume is completely dirty, or your mother still loves you.
Yeah.
If you are a girl, it's not sure your father still loves you. So for a woman, it's more dangerous to be idiot like for a man. And we can see when you teach, woman wants to be charming clown. But I knew some woman, the monster, fantastic, but not so many.
I think I'm more of a monster.
So I think that should rightfully cut to Hillary Clinton watching the guy you just mentioned with a drill inside his penis, and then we should, because it was so the last voice, that's Natalie.
Yeah.
And I'd seen that clip before I knew, and I've never met Natalie. I think we're gonna try to get her on the podcast, but
She's out here. She's coming tomorrow. She's staying with me for the next
Yeah,
like,
we're
week. Yeah,
we're talking to her, but just phenomenal, and the idea of her next to Hillary Clinton is shocking to me.
I was almost in that with them.
Oh my!
Because that, you know, that's my clown teacher.
That's your clown
That's
teacher.
your
That's my
teacher.
clown teacher, Philippe Gaulier. So everything that he's saying, I understand because I speak that language.
So does Hillary, apparently.
Dude,
Yes.
that whole thing is
Yes.
So he's basically what he is. How I decipher this is they ask, is it harder for a woman to do it than a man? And his whole thing is, at school, he would say, yeah, I do think it's harder because we have to acknowledge the differences in ways that people are raised. And it doesn't mean that's impossible or that women aren't funny. Obviously, I don't believe that at all. He's saying that as boys, when you get in trouble, everybody loves a bad boy. You forgive the bad boy. It's like, boys will be boys. But it's like, well, if a girl does this, it's like, hey, be proper. Like, it's not ladylike. You have to act this certain way. So he would say in school, it's like, you have to unlearn that part of it, and just depending on how much that you learn that's like the work you need to do to then go be free and be a monster, like the way that the boy can be messy. And like, that's, to me, I thought that was like beautiful honesty.
I think it was beautiful honesty. I don't think Hillary Clinton absorbed a word of it.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
It was so strange that even happened. I was gonna do this because like I was out there when Nat Wen did this, and then I had to like interview with like I had like a background check with like the FBI and like Secret Service. And then they eventually just decided to have like only women because they were going to do this clown class that they do. And the whole thing is bizarre, dude. I mean,
Does Hillary do the class?
Oh, she sure does. She fucking does. And I would have killed to have done clowning with Hillary.
Imagine she gets a drill and just puts it in her snatch.
Oh my God.
Like, excuse me, ma'am, you're stealing my friend's routine. I would have called her out for plagiarizing.
This is the worst thing you've ever done, Hillary Clinton. So tell me a little bit about, let me give the purely cynical view of all art schools as someone who had a guru-like-ish acting teachers when I was like really into acting.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, we would also have exercises where people got naked, because you learn how to change on stage, be private in public. And then ultimately, a lot of these people, you see there were some nuggets of beauty and truth, and then other elements that you could map on top of any Netflix documentary about cults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the clown universe like in terms of like, are there like just these master gurus? Why is it in French? Why is it in France?
This guy so to me, Philippe, he runs the school, Philippe Gaulier. I think he's the funniest man in the world. And his wife, Michiko Miyazaki Gaulier, I think she's the funniest woman in the world. And to me, there's a lot of talk over the years of, he teaches through a via negativa approach, which is like, if you go on stage and you're not funny, rather than saying that verbatim, it's all a game. He'll go, but this guy is funny. I want to get married with this guy. Or the Germans come, chuck, chuck, chuck. I give him to the Nazis to shoot. And it's like a thing where you're like, oh my God, I acknowledge that this is bad because the Nazis are bad, and I understand these things are bad. So it's more of a fun game for then you to go like, no, you can't get me away like that, and you get to fight back and play if you want it. But there's obviously a lot of psychopaths, and especially there's like a lot of sycophants that like find any art form like improv or sketch, and specifically clown, where I feel they make that their therapy. And it's like, clown, I think, is a beautiful outlook on life. For me, I apply it in that like, to me, it's like the study of teaching how to be good at being bad. So if you can make the bad good, then it's always good, and you know how to deal with the bad. And it's more of like, it's information versus like it's suppressing you. And I feel like a lot of people go to him like this, and he would consistently say, I am not a guru, I'm not a master, I'm a guy who says no when he doesn't like something. If you don't like that, that's cool. But if you're gonna be in my school, this is just how I do it. He gives people his money back at any time. You don't have to go on stage ever if you don't want to. And I reject the narrative with this as someone who sipped that Kool-Aid hard. I did the 2 years and I love it. And I've sent, hundreds of people to the school for no benefit at all. Like, I don't get a kickback or anything from this. I'm just like, hey, if I think you can benefit from this training, like, you should go and do this, because he does teach you how to give no fucks at all and to play from your gut and to play from, to me, an unselfish creative art, like I guess, point of view, where it's like you're of service of the clown. Like, to me, I see it as like, that's like, this is the art form. It's not like cool. It's not like stand-up where you're like, you see some people who are like trying to always be like, I'm so chill, I'm like bothered to be here. Or like improv guy in the back line who's like, yeah, watch this. Doesn't even fucking tag you out, just like pushes everyone off. And he's like, yeah, grandpa, it's weird you're sucking my dick. And then edits his own scene, Which, like, epic move, by the way. And I will do that time and time again.
Well, isn't there also a degree where, I mean, stand-up is a real American-born art form where clowning does not feel, hence the fact that this guy, well,
he's French, so he's French, and he taught in the UK, and funny enough, he was removed from the UK. He was kicked out and not allowed to teach under their education because an American woman 30 years ago, when he asked him the question, do you think it's harder for women than men? He said yes. She called him sexist, and then he was like, all right, I don't give a shit about this. I'll just go back to France. And he's
Thank God that's where it went. I felt
Yeah.
an American woman. I said, oh, here we go.
yeah, here it goes. Yeah. Here we go.
And then you're like, whew, oh, just sexist. That's fine. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah. But it was like, to me, it's like everyone who's mad at him, because I mean, again, he says something.
Are people mad at him?
Yeah, people, not like actually. It's more people who are there where they're like, oh, this thing sucked, or this was this type of way. And I was like, no, I think you just weren't funny.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like, you just weren't funny at school, and you took it personally, but it's not personal, because the same jokes he makes about you is the same jokes he makes about everybody else. And this kind of goes into a rant or a position later that I'll chat about, because this directly influenced this, where it's like he taught me that, like, you can and should make fun of everybody. I think is when you start coddling people or babying people,
Sure.
and you stop making fun of folks, that's when there's actually problems. But like, you do it from a place of love. It's like you make fun with, you make fun of. I'm not like the bastards you can mock and you can step on the shitty people in the world, but just because someone is from somewhere else does not inherently mean they are shitty.
Yeah.
I think whether, because again, I don't know as much about clowning, but I think I know about with improv, and I know with stand-up recently, is the health of an art form. Part of it is either making fun of, being mean, or you could say it bullying.
Yeah.
Where you got to be good, or you got to be invested, or you have to be of worth to be witnessed to stay in it.
Yeah.
And I think, at least with stand-up, and this is why people get so, I think, bothered by social media and crowd work in particular, is because it allows people who aren't good and shouldn't be taking up the airtime and shouldn't be known as the stand-up comedians to become the face of the platform.
Agreed.
But at the same time, when you are loving improv, which feels closer to clowning, I think, than stand-up does in certain respects, it feels like it's more, yes and is not just a tactic in the game. It is a support. You got to be supportive. And that support led to a bunch of 101 shows that everyone was forced to go to, and ultimately going, improv fucking sucks.
Yeah,
and I could see clowning being similar in that way.
Well, look, not how he teaches it.
Sure.
But a lot of phonies who then teach it around do. This over-supporting thing, to me, that's the death of creativity. You have to me, I go into every interaction of my life with what I assume everyone else has, and that's base level, 100% respect and love. I'm happy you're here. I support you. I accept you for whoever you are. That's never a question. But when we're talking about the art, you have to separate the performer and the person. And a bunch of, kind of, maybe, it doesn't do anybody any good. I think the worst betrayal you can do is encourage someone artistically in the right direction, because it's uncomfortable for you to say, hey, that's actually not working. Now, it's not my place. Like, let's say I came and watched an Uncle Function show and I don't like something. I'm not your director. I'm not your guys' producer. You've not asked me my opinion, so I don't need to say that stuff. But if you came to me and you're like, hey, what do you actually think? If you're actually asking me that, then I feel like we owe it to each other to be honest about this thing. And again, my favorite part was when you guys showed me your nuts one by one by one by one.
But I think what's so challenging with clowning is, like, I could see watching, if I'm in a class and there's no energy in the room. So much of clowning to me feels like a real conducting the energy, riding the wave.
Oh, yeah.
I could see seeing Vigo's first America's Got Talent, where essentially he's wearing like a cross guard shiny thing
High-vis
over
vest,
over vest, and he just continually has more and more underneath, and it seems like there's no more, and then it comes back, and it's just. I could see seeing that in a cold room, and at a different time in my life, if the teacher goes, class, any notes, I could be like, yeah, at a certain point, it's like, it's just another one and another one. And like, clowning feels hard to judge or to know at all.
Yeah.
It's just, it's very hard. Whereas stand-up feels, you really have, and I think that's why I'm more drawn to stand-up, is because I need more guidance personally as an artist.
Yeah, fair.
Like, I tell people sometimes, it's not, I don't even know if it's that I love stand-up the most. It's that the feedback loop of stand-up is what I click into the most.
That's a great way to put it, because I feel like I click into most of the comedic rhythms of a room through clowning. And I wish I had more jokes that I could deploy.
I was going to say my one note about Stamptown was I wish you had more jokes.
Hey, can we talk for a second? No, it's funny because like so much of our stuff is like where we run the risk is like I think we're extremely charming in a room. I feel most comfortable in front of a crowd of people, and if they come into our domain or our zone, it's like, well, we're gonna have an awesome time no matter who's in the crowd. But sometimes with that or this freedom in this, the thing that we're looking out for is like, are we just scattering with no substance? And sometimes it's fun, and like I will push and ride every moment all the time, but that's hopefully from the years of bombing a bajillion times and having good collaborators and honest collaborators around me, is that you learn to know like, okay, this is worth exploring, this is not worth exploring. Okay, let's actually pull this back. We need to chop this shit down. Like, that show in particular, I feel like it runs like we're like running an offense or a defense. It's like we're like a sports team and we got a playbook, and it's like we're back being like, okay, when this thing falls from the ceiling, you're gonna pop out. When you pop out, that's the sound cue for this person over here. And then we come around, we get this big joke, we kill this tension, we bring on the next act. And it's like that's like the play that's drawn up. Now, does it get there every time? Almost never. But then you got a bunch of people you can like call audibles with and like be in the moment with and figure it out and improvise and trust in those moments.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's a fucking hard art form, and I think a lot of people have like they've made it their identity, and I don't align with, nor do I. It's harsh language, but it's because I fucking love this thing so much, and I feel like you said, I've suffered so hard for years making this, and I'm not entitled to anything at all. No one is in this art form. I think clown is a lot like shrooms when you try and talk about that experience and you get tongue-tied. It's like it's a lot of contradictions that are all right, but also not necessarily explicitly correct based on like what form of the development or the process you are is. And like even now I'm like I want to continue off this thing, but I'm like maybe that's just it.
Yeah.
That's just it in this moment.
Have you had any? Go ahead.
Oh, I was like, would your dream be to like have Stamptown be like a residency somewhere, like, or like where you can change it every so often?
Let it die in Vegas. Let
like
it just fucking rot and
like
lose
what
all
would
its
your
heart
what would
and
your
soul.
ultimate like dream be for your kind of this show that you've
With this one in particular, I would love to do a longer New York run at some point and bring like a proper variety show to Broadway or whatever. If it's not Broadway, but just like a long running show.
But
And
some part of it, there's some part, and I think about this with stand up too. I did my first like show in like a 1,200 seat house. It wasn't me headlining, but there's that feeling of like, this isn't ideal for the form.
I don't need it to be that big either. Like, I want it to feel like the modern day traveling circus, which is what I think we are in a smaller way already. And I would like to still keep moving around. I would love to go to all the places that we do. I would like to, more than playing bigger numbers, and like, we're doing well with rooms and room sizes right now, but like what I would prefer is to have the venue be equipped with what we want. I want people falling from the ceiling and ejected from the floors and like, zip lining in and fire and circus. Like, I just needed to have the capabilities that we need. It doesn't need to be like massive, but
You have any injuries yet? Anyone get hurt?
I mean, I in my life have had, I've had 2 shoulder surgeries. I've got torn ligaments in both my arms.
From performing, or you're?
Yeah. I've got a fucked up knee, dude. Like, I've busted my toes and my fingers. Like, but nothing directly. When Marshall's done this whip, I got whipped in the ass and whipped on the dick once. Like,
I once dropped a mic stand on my foot. That was about it. Have you gotten hurt yet on stage?
I fell down the stairs at a tech rehearsal for Gutenberg the musical on Broadway, and I was not even on stage. I hurt my knee, but I'm okay.
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah,
Thank you for
thank
being
you.
here.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. I wasn't near that. I was in the balcony.
Because I've heard, I always hear someone's like, oh my God, this thing happened at stage. The reason I kept hearing about Stamptown, I was like, oh my God. And
That's
and
what
then
we want,
she
dude.
sang The Little Mermaid with her pussy or something like that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I heard that.
Yes, she did.
Were there
Yes, she
were there
did.
any either Stamptown or earlier where you did something where you lost the audience so hard, or you were like, this didn't work? Because that's a fine line of like what's gross, what's vulgar,
Yeah.
and what's art.
I push hard on that. I think the American clown scene is vulgar.
Really?
Yeah. Because I think
Where's the American clown scene?
mostly in Los Angeles. Mostly there's a clown scene in LA. I don't fully know the clown scene in New York so much. But the LA clown scene, I think there's like 3 to 5 actual talented performers, and I think the rest, bless them, and they could get there, are not there yet. And there's a lot of different ways. Yeah, well, look,
LA stand. No, it's the same thing.
dude. Well, yeah, of course. Well, and I don't even think it's their fault. I think it's like, dude, when you only perform to other comedians or industry, it's impossible to know what is actually funny because you're never performing to a straight up audience. Like,
And you're not going to take that many risks if the
No.
executive from Fox is there.
Yeah.
you know?
and they're there. There's
No.
always one of them there every fucking show.
Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
you can't take the risk, even though they'll come and take your free tickets to your shows.
I love the executives from Fox just imagining them go, I gotta go to a clown show tonight.
Yeah.
There's something really
I'm gonna go to
funny.
clown show.
I love them trying to build a sitcom around the drill and the urethra. It's a workplace comedy.
Well, you know it is. You know, he's a handyman.
It slips one day. He finds a new talent. He goes, "Oh my god."
He goes up his ass instead.
Who do you think's bitchier, stand-up comedians or clowns? Do you know a lot about stand-up? Like, did you ever?
Yeah, you know, I did the comedy, the booker at the Comedy Store. Emily is fantastic, and I love her so much, and I am so thankful. And I am, every time she asks me to do it, I'm like, are you sure? Like, you sure? Because every time I've gone there, it's not gone well. And the last time that I did Tucker, which was the first time I did Tucker a few months ago, I was escorted out by security before I went on because they thought I was a homeless guy who snuck in.
Oh my
And then
god.
they didn't believe me. And to be fair, I was missing a shoe. My shirt's tucked in my underwear. I'm soaking wet. And I was what I call softening my apples, where I bashed my apples against the wall to make them softer so that when I hit them and explode them, they go bigger. But I didn't want to do it in the green room because then everyone could they'll hear me just going like. So I was like, well, let me go outside and be respectful. But I'd never been there, so I guess I wandered into an area where I thought performers were allowed. And then I was dragged out by security. And then, you know, there was this whole thing, and I was about to go on. I'm like, guys, you know, my pockets are full of condoms and rubber chickens. I promise.
And they thought this was a whole ruse.
Thought it was a whole ruse.
There's no way to quickly explain it either. You're like, no, I'm softening my apples.
Yeah.
Like you're like, there's no. That is
which is a crazy thing to say as well. But I'm like, oh, that's just what I'm doing. You know, I do this all the time. And then I went up there and then bombed the hardest I've ever bombed.
Which room?
Belly room.
The belly room. Yeah. Belly room. It
It's
can be
horrible.
tough.
Ugh, dude, it's a brutal room. And like Natalie, same Nat, best friend, she was there to support me that night because I was trying to film a late night set, which obviously we did not get.
Did you do the sounds?
Oh yeah.
So you did the sounds,
Everything. But we, you know, 20 seconds in, a guy was standing in front of our film. So the tape was immediately ruined.
Sure.
And on top of that, no one was laughing at all. And then eventually Natalie came on stage and I pretended she was a plant from the crowd. We did our bit where we kind of made out and I picked her up by her nipples. And then she stuck her fingers down my throat and she had touched like something disgusting on the table and I vomited on the stage.
Oh my god.
That's why that room smells like that.
Yeah, well, and then I picked it up and I put it in my pocket.
Oh,
And I went,
you just scoot. It was solid.
yeah, well, it was liquid, but you know, I didn't get all of it, obviously. But I'm like, I don't want to be rude to the venue. I did just throw up on.
Did you
their
do it like a
stage.
bit? Did it have a sound effect like?
It was just me going, I'm so sorry, guys, and I left pretending to be like, I walked off in silence and I pretended to pick up a phone. I was like, Ma, I did it. It was amazing. Everybody was cracking up tonight, and like usually that saves me. No one laughed at that either. So I'm then sitting in the green room with a pocket full of throw up. Having to supposed to do another show again in 5 minutes to do the next hour show, and I'm like, you guys don't want me here. Like I should not be doing this right now. I shouldn't be here, and that's maybe my last performance I'll ever do.
No, I think first of all, the comics must have loved it. If I was on a show and let's everyone tell their fucking jokes,
someone
and
threw
then
up on
someone
stage?
threw up.
Come on now.
It'd be the biggest night of the year.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them are. I had done also years ago at the Lyric Hyperion back when that was still the place in LA in 2018, 2019. And I did an early version of Jack Tucker out there. And I went and did my weather joke, or my airplane
Just so
joke.
everyone knows, so Jack Tucker, can you just describe for people who haven't seen it? Like
Jack Tucker's a character I play. My name's Zach Zucker. The character's called Jack Tucker. It's the world's worst stand-up comedian. But it's like just me having fun.
It's got hints of like someone who was inspired by Dangerfield.
Yeah.
It's got an old school.
It's so. I mean, I think the first time I saw was it was you were doing it with
The SNL showcase.
SNL showcase. Yes.
Yeah. Did you get it?
Hey, can we talk offline for a second?
both secretly working for SNL.
Yeah. So
Go on air.
I'm Keenan, dude. I'm piloting the Keenan bot. Yeah,
I'm Keenan, dude.
I screen tested this year. I didn't get it again.
Was that real that Britannic played your screen test at one of your
Oh
Stamptown
yeah,
shows?
yeah, because I asked them to help me with my tape that year, and so I always fuck with those boys. They're two of my best friends. We produce them. I love them, and every time they come on the show, we cut them off so they never get a chance to really go.
Yeah.
And it's great. And bless it, they both really want to do it, but it's so much funnier when they don't get to go. And then Nick, unbeknownst to me, had sent like stems of my tape that I'd sent him for actual notes on, and then cut the ones. He took the ones that he had told me to cut. So these are the worst ones. It's me doing like Colin Farrell as a drag race judge, like Boris Johnson coaching the Knicks. Like it was really horrible stuff. And he was just playing them throughout the show. And then they became part of the canon for the rest of the night. So like I started my Boris Johnson. I think it was like order in the court, order in the court. And so you just kept hearing that throughout the rest of the show.
so
man.
funny.
Brutal, dude. It was
Hey,
brutal.
you know whose SNL audition tape I got somewhere?
Who?
Yours.
No, you would never. You would never. You never.
Look, I'll tell you, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny to do it.
When you, because I know that you played baseball and you were good.
Allegedly.
You had a scholarship to Harvard,
I got a letter of interest to play at Harvard, and I just never followed up on it.
and how'd your family feel?
Not very happy. You know, I was like golden grandson, like Jewish immigrants. Everyone was like really excited for me to go to college. And I was like, I got the acting bug. I'm going to move to LA. Never acted in my life. I quit my senior year as the captain to go move to Los Angeles and do like improv. And I was street performing on the Santa Monica Promenade as guitar guy playing music. Like, dude, I put them through it, to be fair. And then, you know, at 19 was like, I'm actually going to go to French clown school.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you know, it was a
Did
dark.
you graduate high school or you? No, you
Graduated high school. I'm
Right,
3
and then
credits
you
short of finishing my freshman year of college.
Uh-huh.
I dropped out of Santa Monica College 3 separate times.
I think that's so great. I wish I
loved it.
dropped out of college.
Dude, it was the best thing that I ever did, you know?
It's just incredible to go at that age to decide to go to France. I just bought into the system.
If you're
way
gonna
too
go to
hard to
clown
make that
school,
kind of decision.
If you're gonna go to clown school, 19
Yeah.
like is when you should.
I was the youngest one there, too.
That's the right age.
Yeah.
You go there. That's an interesting group of 19-year-olds.
Yeah.
One 50-year-old who's
Well,
made a big right turn in their life.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was the demographic. The age range at school was, you know, when I went, I was 20. It was like 20 to, I think, 65.
Oh my God.
I was the youngest by like 4 or 5 years. And then the next year, my comedy partners ended up being the ones that were younger than me, which was bastards. They took my shine. But like, it was.
I went to Circle in the Square for like an acting school thing, and it was like young actors and then some people in their 50s, 60s.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of the class would be like, you know, you'd share your trauma or whatever. And so some of these kids would be like, and you know, and then he moved to college and we tried long distance and then he broke up with me. And then a 60-year-old would get up there and they'd be like, well, my dad fucking murdered 3 people and I lost a kid this morning. And it was just it was good in the sense that you're like, yeah, you should be shaking up the ages as soon as you can as an artist.
Yeah.
You know, to be like, oh wow, the world is complex. And
I hadn't learned anything about the world until I moved out there, you know, and I was like, it's a school, the school that I went to, it's 75 of the weirdest people from 40 to 45 different countries, and they're all perfect and beautiful, and it allows you to like accept and understand and learn, actually, I believe, about all these different cultures in a way that's like, it's completely objective, and you just get the best of everybody, you know? Like it's awesome. And that to me was like my first real wake-up call to being in the real world. And I loved it. It changed my life.
if my life collapsed,
Yeah.
I have a fantasy where it's like my life. I don't have the fantasy.
Your
of not
fantasy-
collapse part.
okay.
You wanted to go
But,
down?
like if I had a collapse, I'd be like, I'm going to clown school.
Why not? I think that's beautiful.
I think you would love it.
Tough to take 2 years off right now.
Well, it's only 1 year now. He only teaches 1 year now because he's getting older, unfortunately. But
God,
I think he's 80 now.
what's the schedule like? Does he ever do master classes?
He does like 1 to 2 to 3 week intensives over the summer.
Wow.
Because dude, it's just great. I mean, look, it's great for anybody who's a performer or a creator in any way, whether you're a musician, whether you're a director, whether you're an animator. It's like a stand-up. It's all just a lot of it's just like performance dynamics. That's like when I teach a lot of like clown fundamentals and performance dynamics. Like, are you looking at the ground? Because if you literally just look here, there's you've already upped your chances by 60% of getting a laugh. Don't quote the math on that, but
Holy shit.
Yeah.
like
Thinking
it's
about all my jokes that haven't been working. I'm like,
yeah, dude. Are you looking at the ground because he'll be
every
like,
joke, I'm all the way up here. I'm like 100% kill rate right now.
yeah, it's crushing right here. Got a fan right there. But yeah, it's so much as just like looking and being present and just finding ways to like restart that rhythm and get them back on your rhythms.
I heard this. It was a podcast. It was just you talking, but it was about a story of a show you did here in New York, where an old counselor or some kind.
Yes.
Would you mind sharing that story with us?
Yeah, the abridged version of it was, this is me and Vigo. This is our first time we ever performed in New York.
You met Vigo at the clown school?
Met him at clown school.
And Vigo, he's Norwegian.
Vigo's Norwegian, funniest man in Britain.
There's a
Sucks shit,
Norwegian
British.
stand-up comedian,
Daniel Simonson. He's another good friend
Oh,
of ours.
yeah.
Daniel went to Gaulier as well.
Very funny.
yeah.
He's a deeply
Wait,
funny
he went
guy.
to
Oh yeah,
the clown school?
he sure did.
Wow.
No way.
Oh yeah, dude.
No way.
Oh yeah.
That explains a lot.
Yeah.
He's never, ever, ever mentioned
He
that.
doesn't talk about it except when he does Stamptown. He'll be like, it's really when I went to a clown school years ago. Really crazy, and like he'll give us a little bit of it, but like,
by the way, he won't do podcasts, or he won't do this one. But I have pushed past the line of requesting and borderline harassed him to do the podcast because I'm like, it'd be so
Dude, he's
interesting.
awesome.
But he's a shy babe.
he's a really shy guy.
That's really good.
Look, I spent a lot of time around Norwegians.
It's very stressful. I mean, Daniel gets to walk up stage and he just gets his first laugh. Hello.
Yeah.
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 I'm like, well, fuck.
No, he killed
me,
when he
dude.
opened.
I mean, a lot of fun to be here.
Function.
Oh, he crushed.
Killed.
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea.
I mean, that's Vigo's the same thing, and we also have another friend, Stefan, he plays a vampire in our shows, and he's like, "Oh, hello, is it time for my number?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "I would just love to come on stage and be a little bit spooky." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I just want to be a little spooky," and then someone laughs and goes, "Shut up." And
Is
it's
there
just-
something about being Norwegian that leads them to clowning about their culture?
I think they just have a very silly vocal inflection. They have a
Yeah.
beautiful rhythm.
So they get laughs early on. They're like,
It's a
"Well, I can
really
do this."
funny way to speak and stuff. You laugh.
If I could do that accent, I'd never speak without it again.
I speak with it probably 20 to 30% of my days. It's a cheat code,
I think we have you back. You be Daniel Simonson the whole time, and I say, "Hey, we got you anyway. Sorry, buddy."
Thank you for having me here.
Okay, so you partner up with this guy.
Yes. So I met Vigo, and Vigo was the funniest guy at school. He did not want to work with me. When I actually had asked him first to work with me, he pretended he didn't hear me twice and just kept going. And it was like, Sammy, what would be this thing right here? And then the day the Edinburgh Fringe registration happened, we were the only two, all of our people bailed on us. We were the two guys left. So we were like, well, I guess we'll call it Zach and Vigo. We went 1, 2, 3. I said Thunder, he said Flop. And so Zach and Vigo Thunder Flop was born. We did the Edinburgh Fringe in 2015. Him and Johnny, our director, they were the year below me. So they had another year of Gaulier. But I'd convinced them to come out early New Year 2016. And we did like our first shows in LA and New York as a way to like prep for the first year of UK and European touring. We were doing that next year or later that summer. And we came to New York. I went to a summer camp out here, like mostly Jewish people in my life were like all, like I'm going to be a doctor, a lawyer, a businessman, and like go to school. And like, they're all from Long Island. They're all from like areas of Chicago where I grew up. And like all of them knew me as an athlete. So it was my first time like seeing anybody in like 3 to 5 years after I had my weird acting thing, which was also like me being bi. They're like, yeah, he turned all weird now. And it was all this shit. Like, and I was also like, I was like bi at camp. I was
You're like, I'm half weird.
I'm half weird. And that's the straight part of me. They were uncomfortable with it, but but then so I had this homecoming show at the Pit Loft, funny enough, January 2016.
We're going back there soon.
Oh my God.
We're going back to the Pit Loft, and he didn't want to do it. He said we're going way too backwards to go back to the Pit Loft.
There's just something psychological, but it's fine.
Look, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
And we went on, and the show was sold out, which was amazing. It was all my family and my friends, my family seeing it for the first time. No one's ever seen me on stage before. And the show was sold out, and so they added extra chairs to the front, and my camp counselor, who was a family friend, sat in the front row, and she was hammered, like so drunk. She must have been on some like benzos and some other shit too, because it was like mixed in a way where I'm like, this is not, you're
Just drunk.
You're not just drunk right now. And she, in the middle of the show, was heckling us. She at one point went, yeah, that's what you get for scorning all those girls with that dirty dick. And in front of my grandmother.
Oh, no.
In front of my grandmother, who we don't say the word shut up in front of. You know what I mean? Like, and then
It must have ruined your asshole R. Kelly bit completely.
had to cut the whole thing. I did it with my underwear on. We did it through CGI. But then, like, you know, and she
I
stood
love
up.
you. Like, there's like, my grandma's here.
I have a whole little bit where my ass says "Hi, Grandma." She came to a show this year, which I'll tell you about later. But like, then this girl threw a roundhouse kick at Vigo in the middle of the show and went, "I don't even know what's going on," and then started making out with her boyfriend, who was this really short Irish guy. And then
I know the whole pit staff's just standing like,
yeah, of course, they didn't do a damn thing. Obviously, didn't do anything.
Not in the room.
They were like,
Not in the
we thought, yeah, first off,
Yeah.
not in the room.
Yeah.
Second, like, oh, we thought it was part of the show. Did you?
Yeah.
And like, at the time, we had our first reviewer in, which was like theater.blogspot.newyork.us.com.nyu critic.
that's still our leading quote on the website.
Yeah. And then we had an assistant from WME who was like so brand new to like somebody, like a junior assistant, a junior agent's assistant of some
Yeah,
shit.
they're like, they haven't given me an email yet.
Yeah, truly. But I'm in the mailroom. And let me tell you, I'm moving stuff. And so, like, for me, that was like a huge deal. And so the show is going poorly. No one's like, they're not hating it, but they're not liking it. And everyone's like, oh, interesting choice, Zach. Like, he's really doing that gay theater shit, is the vibe I got from them. That's what I was feeling from the crowd. And let me tell you, it didn't feel good. And so as soon as the show was over, I immediately start crying backstage. I threw all my props and stuff.
How many comedians have been
How many
crying in
comedians
the
have cried
backstage,
in the backstage of the Pit Loft?
Oh yeah, it's hard for me to be back there still. And of course, like, I'm crying and sad. Johnny, our director, he's Canadian. He's with me, and we're like hype. We were, you know, inseparable at the time. So he's like, man, fuck this place, fuck these people. Vigo, Norwegian.
Fuck your grandma.
Yeah, fuck your grandma.
dumb bitch.
Fuck your grandma for being here. She wasn't let you show your asshole. The hell? She wiped that ass. She should be able to look at it. So he's with me. Vigo, obviously being Norwegian, does not want any confrontation, is cleaning up silently, just packing everything up behind us. This camp counselor comes backstage.
Oh, fuck.
And she's like, "You were amazing." And like falling over. And I was like, "Britt, you need to leave right now. You need to go home." And this, like, basically a kind of like a Pistons Pacers fight in kind of brawl ensues, where like the boyfriend comes backstage and starts pushing my director, and he's like, "Hey, you have to tell her she didn't ruin your show. She's really sad about that." I'm like, "Well, he fucking did. So get out of here."
Oh, it's incredible.
My grandma is trying to get backstage, and my buddy Stefan, the vampire's like, "No, don't. It's not really time yet. He's just getting changed. You know, I don't want to come back here." So he's holding her from the right side. They're coming in through the left. You guys know this.
Yeah, we know
Very
that
well.
face. Yeah.
My buddy then, Cole Stern. Cole was like American everyman. Everyone loved this guy. He could dunk in 6th grade. You know, he like fingered when we were like 9. You know what I mean? He went to prom all 4 years.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Wow, he's getting
Played football at Penn. Cole comes backstage, and as soon as he comes backstage, the Irish boyfriend and this girl leave, and they eventually, you know, left and like then followed us to the place we were staying, and then eventually, like, also in the middle of this, Brandon, my best friend, Brandon Black, who's an amazing actor, he comes back and he's like, "Z, this is the WME assistant." And I'm like, "Thank you so much for coming."
Oh,
like,
my
crying,
God.
dude. And they eventually sent us all these messages that we would then later read as a poem, that we have as a poem that we read to each other whenever we're feeling upset or whenever we're like upset with each other. Because she had so many typos in there, and one of them was Hanra Ditlab, which was supposed to be honestly. And she went, "You know me well enough to know my ego has nothing to do with it." And that's a phrase that we use whenever we're like talking about salaries or pay cuts or budgets, to remind ourselves, hey, it's not me versus you, it's us versus this problem. So it's like, hey man, look, I want to pay you more than I could, because you know me well enough to know my ego has nothing to do with it. And just like, it brings us back down to be like, yo, we are the same fucking idiots who are all here together.
Yeah.
And that's what we got from that
Henri Ditlab.
crazy.
Yeah, it's very
Henri
funny.
She went, "Fucking dad. Sad." It's another good one we have in there.
So your grandma has seen you since?
She has. She's never saw. I never let them come see the Naked Out of My Asshole show.
Yeah.
They were all forbidden to see that. But she did see Stamptown this year, and we worked with this amazing performer, Gigi Holiday. She's one of the top 10 burlesque performers in the world. And she has massive boobs, and she was smacking me in the face with her boobs after her routine, after I had already announced this to everybody. And it wasn't planned, but I'm like, well, I got to do the show calls what the show calls. And my dad and his brother, who are both so fucking lame, they were like, "Don't do any nudity in front of grandma. She's going to get so upset," all this type of stuff. And
You'd probably be so happy that you're straight for a second.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because they
like,
always
"That's
ask.
a boy."
She always goes, "What's up with the earrings?" And I'm like, "Well, what?" Oh, yeah, I just have him. I'm like, oh, she's on to me, girls. I don't think they know what the term bisexual means, and honestly, I think I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But they, I went up to her afterwards, and I was like, "Hey, like, did you like it?" And she's like, "I loved it." And she really loved the show, and I was like, "I'm sorry about the breasts to the face." Notice I code switched and said breasts, not honking huge knockers, titties.
grandma.
And she went, "Hey, you gotta do what the show needs you to do." And I looked at my dad and his brother. I'm like, "Really? This is what you were worried about? Like, you guys are so uncomfortable about this?" But she understands. And she starts talking to me about, like, you know, all these old, you know, like kind of like comedians or talk shows she used to watch in the 70s and 80s and 60s, and was like, it reminds me of this, and was so sweet and complimentary. And
That's the thing with old people. Sometimes, some are sensitive, but some it's like, listen, they've seen more of life than you can imagine.
yeah. And there's a lot of stuff we don't agree on, for sure.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
and a lot of things they don't like about me. But but other than
I was hoping you were gonna do the full thing like in the show.
I would, but I didn't know whose this was, so I was just being respectful.
That's a lovely end to I mean, just that they can see it now.
They see it, and they also. So I'm doing this run. This will be over by then, but maybe other dates will be announced by then. But I've been doing this show, Jack Tucker off Broadway. I've been jacking off Broadway for the last 7 weeks, and they unfortunately are not able to travel here right now because they're just not well enough to get on a plane. But they were every time my cousins or my aunts and uncles have come to the show, they FaceTimed in and watched the show on FaceTime. Now, how much are they getting or hearing? Virtually zero.
Sure.
But they're loving it, and I can hear them through the phone being like, I can't hear him. Like, I can't hear Zachary. Can you put it? And I'm like, guys, they can watch, but you gotta like mute them. You can't have your volume up and have them commenting from the crowd. But they really appreciate it now, and the journey we've gone on in the last 12 years of like them resenting it to like really supporting it it's been really cool.
Amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Let's go into our next segment. This has got to stop.
This has got to stop.
This has got to stop. This is where we talk about things that need to come to an end. Big, small, societal, personal. Do you have this has got to stop?
Well, I guess one. Okay. Are like
we can go first too.
Yeah, go first.
Okay, you go first.
You go first.
You go first.
I don't have one today.
What the fuck? No, that's not.
Okay. We go through this. Sometimes we have them. Sometimes we don't have them. It's not. It's
No,
not.
we always have them.
No.
We always have them.
Sometimes I have one prepared, then we don't do it, and so I don't have one today.
It's so yours can be more fun than this is.
What's
is
yours?
Trivial. When they have the phone machine, you're calling for Bank of America or whatever. There's a problem, and they do the voice detection. So it's like, if you would like to speak with a, did you say? And there's a feeling of wanting to just murder.
You just say human over and over again.
Yeah, I go put me with a fucking human.
I say human.
I truly,
do.
I'm so curious to know, because I feel like if you were able to get, and they say they're recorded, so it must exist. If you were able to hear the way that I speak to that computer, it would make me so unlikable. To hear me talk in the tone that I do and the way that I say human so aggressively, that if you heard that, you'd go, "Oh, I don't want to know this guy anymore."
Yeah,
something's wrong.
Do you know where I feel I make up with that though?
Yeah,
is I answer every telemarketer and I very politely say, "No, thank you, not today."
Yeah,
really.
Thank you for calling, and then I hang up because I used to get angry at that, and it's like, that's not their fault, dude. Their job sucks, and they're getting yelled at constantly by everybody, and they're just doing their job. But this is a fucking robot.
Sure.
So fuck you. Let me take it out on you.
Yeah.
And then I'll be nice to the person I'm talking with unless they're being unreasonable.
Do you get calls often, though, for telemarketers? I feel like it's always like when I answer, it's like there's a pause and I hang up immediately.
Or you hear that, there's like, I think it's like a Skype sound, but you're like, bloop,
yeah.
and you're like, this is
I think someone must have I either must have signed up for the wrong website or someone has signed my phone up for something because I've been getting a lot more of those lately.
I've been getting a lot of texts from
Democrats,
Joe Biden, and Democrats.
I mean Trump.
I've been getting there's some kind of scam.
I gotta go.
There's some new form of scam where they write you and they're like to be on a podcast.
Oh,
but like a business,
and you're like,
inspiration
absolutely.
Well, the first time you see it, and they're like, we'll pay you $3,000.
Yeah,
and it's always $3,000 is the number.
And it's the manager of the guy is a really funny name. It's like something management, but there's alliteration in it. And we now we play with them and we try and engage in it as much.
Are they only
Yeah.
sending it to comics? Like, is it a comic scam or is it
One
like?
day you'll get there, buddy.
Yeah, I know.
We'll
I'm
get
like,
fake
I'm like,
podcasts off
actually,
you someday.
I'm very offended that I'm not getting this.
Well, I
scam.
got usually it's like some like business inspiration, but I got
Yeah.
one recently that said for Your Mama's House, which is Tom Segura's podcast,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I could, in theory, be on someday. And I
Yeah.
saw that in the subject, and I had just the briefest half
it
a second
email?
of, oh,
Is it email?
Yeah.
yeah.
And then, and then you see that when they go, hello, and then your name is huge. And
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, yeah, it's not real. And then you check their email, and it's like 458-7WPR at
Yeah.
podcast.
At PayPal dot.
Yeah.
You got this guy stop? You think
No, I
about?
told you no.
Okay, then I got a second one for you. Sometimes there's certain containers where they don't have the zip. It's not a, what is it? Zip tie where you push it. It's the sticky close. It's like for
Yeah.
bags of almonds
Yeah.
or like flosses.
Yes.
And when it comes loose and it spills in your bag, I'm
Yeah.
convinced they do that on purpose.
Really? Why?
I'm convinced they do that on purpose.
So you
Like,
buy
I have,
more?
I have a thing of like floss.
Uh-huh.
And you don't want that loose because then
No.
it's dirty. You're putting it in between your teeth, you get an infection. And it's always the push. The what do you call it? What do you call it when you close a bag?
like a
Ziploc.
Ziploc.
Ziploc. And it's a shitty Ziploc.
Yeah.
And I'm convinced.
Wait, but you just have loose floss in a Ziploc?
No, it's the thing. It's the thing that you hold and you.
Yeah, but those
floss.
aren't those like you use
Yeah,
once
dude.
and throw away?
Yeah, but you have the whole bag of them, and I keep them in my.
Remember at the
I
comedy
see,
clubs, I
I
asked for
see,
floss,
I
and now they
see.
give me a whole bag, and I go,
Yeah.
I got a whole bag.
Yeah, they always fall in my bag though.
They
And it
fall out of
always
the bag.
spills my bag. I didn't bring my bag today because it's more loose floss than it is anything else.
Oh my god!
dead
And
serious.
it's on purpose.
Wow.
You know. They said if we make it a little loose, it falls out. They go, you throw it all away.
And you buy a new
Then
one.
you buy a new one.
Yeah,
I'm
Oh.
convinced. I'm convinced.
Oh, I hate that.
It's on purpose.
I love that.
Wow.
I feel that's something that's so uniquely specific to my life that I was certain no one else ever experienced.
We need to rally.
And this is why stand-up's nice, because now I feel related to.
Yeah.
I feel related to. Instead of like, goo-goo-doo, look at me drill my balls.
Let me floss my urethra and then put this in my asshole.
I write society on my cock while I do it.
Do you have this gotta stop?
Okay, I guess I have more like I have more like maybe rants, not rant, or
fine,
more
it's great.
opinions. One of them was this got to stop is everyone thinking they're a political activist and a reporter all the time. I'm not gonna go to you for this stuff. I'm gonna go to trusted sources and listen professionally to people delivering information that's very sensitive and that is I guess like there's a whole institution for it for a reason. Instead of somebody who like wakes up one day and then just decides, oh, it's actually my voice now is the one that needs to be heard in this. And there's a difference between spreading awareness. Again, the same way that I approach all people with immediate love, I understand good intention and I agree with spreading awareness. And I agree sometimes you need that little Kickstarter to get people aware of something, but it's then the people who have bestowed it upon themselves to be the voice of a cause or a generation.
I agree.
And I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up.
I get my news from Israel.gov, and that's it.
Yeah.
If it's not a
Beginning
.gov
and end.
if it's not a .gov, I'm not listening.
Israel.gov.
If the president didn't approve of it,
Yeah.
I don't trust it.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
If Hillary Clinton's not repeating it on The View, what's the point?
If
That's what
Patton
The View
Oswalt
is.
didn't retweet it, I am not
Yeah.
reading it.
And if he doesn't go, this,
yes.
this, though,
This,
okay,
though?
but this,
Okay, but this.
but this, okay, but it had me at that. It's like, it's those ones. It's
Yeah.
those
Yes.
ones where it's like, do you know? And it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like when I was living with my best friend Brandon, he's gay and he's black. And when it was during the George Floyd protests, everyone was texting him being like, I'm so sorry, I never knew. And it's like, if you don't know that there's racism happening and it takes you to post a square to talk about it, well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you just found out today. That's got to suck to find out today.
Yeah.
Of course it's always going. I had a big fight with my Australian friend the other day who I love because they do a bullshit like lip service thing in one of their comedy festivals there where they do a land acknowledgement, which again, I'm like, that's fine. Acknowledge where you're from. That's not, I don't have any issue with that. But to me, it's like, but what are you doing beyond that? And their argument was, well, sometimes just alluding to it is just as good as no plan of action. And I go, no, it's self-masturbatory if there's no plan of action. Give a plan of action, and I'd rather disagree with your plan of action, but have you actually do something than just constantly talk around a thing.
Because the lip service makes people feel like they're doing something when they're not.
No,
And it just,
at all.
It feels like you're like,
But that's my problem with a lot of political comedy. I think that's what I see, like the Colberts of the world, where I'm like, you're just letting off steam.
Yeah.
Like like maybe I sometimes I'm like, well, maybe if we didn't have like all this little steam to let off when Roe v. Wade got overturned, we would have stormed the courthouse. But instead, we get like a lot of outlets to be like, I bet Trump's had an abortion. Yeah, he's fucking had an abortion. It doesn't matter. Yeah, he's a hypocrite.
Obviously, duh.
If I see one more Democrat go, well, here's the list of things Trump has done. Someone said to me today, they replied to something. I was making fun of Hillary Clinton, and they wrote back. They just said, well, Trump's going to jail soon, and I was like, no, he's not. He's not.
He's
Who's going to take him to jail? The guard who voted for him?
Yeah, no
Get
way.
out of here.
There's no way.
Wake up.
Can't wait to see that orange man behind bars.
Oh God.
How many times do people say, well, it's finally collapsing. It's all over.
Oh, it's all
Trump
over
is
for
going to
him.
die in the most lovely way a human being can die in the world, in the nicest bed.
And that's what you
with
want
the
to tell people.
nicest
You want to be like,
food.
you're never going to get that moment with this
No.
man. You're never going to be like, we're validated in how much we hate him.
No.
You're just not going to, you have to release that. You have to give over and be like, I'm not going to get that nice thing. If it happens, great. Like if it happened somehow, a thing fell on him and publicly and we catch it on video
Awesome.
and we all can watch it. That would be a nice bonus surprise. But we're probably not going to get it, you know?
My favorites are when people are like,
Piano. If a piano falls from the
he's
sky.
stealing my
somehow.
fucking material now. Steal the election. Don't steal my jokes, King. All right. But I feel as well. It's like my favorites are the ones on Twitter where it's like Ted Cruz did this, and it's not even 11:30 in the morning yet. It's like, dude, you want to know why we fucking lose all the time? Because this is our brand, dude.
Yeah.
Like their brand has been funny and completely disregarding the truth. And it sucks because it's not based in reality, but neither is when you're trying to play in reality, but nobody else is. And it's like, well, I don't care if you're going to do this righteous thing. It's like you look like a weenie and you make people.
That's what Hillary Clinton.
thing.
Yeah, Hillary Clinton posted. It was a picture because of the eclipse. It was Trump looking up at the eclipse and like, this is the guy who's the Republican nominee. And I'm like, well, he did look at the eclipse. He seems to be fine.
Yeah.
And you lost to him. So what are you
saying
bragging
here?
about over here?
Yeah.
You lost the battle.
Yeah.
You got to come with some heat.
And I think truly one of the only candidates that could have lost to him as well.
Yeah.
You know, you were so unlikable. Like, dude, do you remember Lin-Manuel Miranda's Tim Kaine in the Membrane?
I sent it to them
Just watched it
recently.
the other day.
Dude, that is insane.
It's
to me.
insane. You
That's
watch
why
that,
we lost.
and that's what's crazy is like there's still people doing that stuff now, and you're like, guys, how do you have no memory of like how lame and how like deeply out of touch this is with how America.
You know how there's that thing of like, oh, if you had a time machine, you go back, kill baby Hitler. I think the phrase should be rephrased to, I would stop Lin-Manuel Miranda from doing the Tim Kaine rap.
Yeah, truly.
Okay, if I had a time machine before I stopped Lin-Manuel Miranda from doing the Tim Kaine rap, I would do.
I'd do that. But if it came later, like in the 2000s, when they probably would have invented it.
In the membrane.
Yeah, that one is a crazy one to me that lives on in my heart forever.
Roy Wood Jr. had, I think he had like one of the best takes of it where Hillary Clinton went on a book tour and the book was like How I Lost. And he was like, how are you going to go on a tour for a job you didn't get?
Yeah.
He was like, I could talk about a lot of jobs I didn't get.
Yeah. And also, then it also just reeks of arrogance too. And it's like, you guys blew it. Like, I knew the moment that Hillary lost me. Like, I wrote in Bernie Sanders that year to say fuck you to the. I mean, I was also in California, so I had the luxury. of doing
Sure.
Yeah, we're in New York.
But I took this from Philippe, my clown teacher, who would say, even when the establishment fucks you, you could say, hey, we're still here. And so this was me, and I was upset that year because Hillary Clinton and Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who was like the campaign manager, I have no problem. Like, look, everyone smears everybody. You can smear everyone. But it was when they were directly targeting Bernie Sanders for being Jewish, and it's like, let's exploit that he's Jewish and send that to the mass world. I was like, well, dude, fuck you then.
Totally.
You lost my vote. And then that's where I voted for Trump 8 times.
Yeah.
No, I mean, obviously I voted for Biden. I'm gonna vote for him again. Like, you don't have to be jazzed about it. And I think that's when the people are like, Joe Biden's cool. I'm like, he's actually not that bad of a president. He's done pretty well, I think, all things considered. Like, it's just not been a reality show that it was 4 years ago, which honestly, I think is better.
Sure.
I think it's better that it's not like that, but like, I'm not excited to vote for him.
Sure, and also, you're supposed to criticize.
Yeah.
You want everyone to like get on board now, so we can all do a dance together.
Yeah.
I'm also like kind of like my new conspiracy theory is like, do they want to lose? Because they're doing so many things where I'm like, are are you trying to lose?
Yeah.
Like, are you actually trying to lose? Like, did you figure out that when Trump was in the office, you were able to fundraise so much money against Trump? Like because they're doing so many things badly right now that I'm
repeating.
like,
They give Lin-Manuel back.
that I'm like,
hit it back?
Are you trying to lose to like
Humala,
use it as
humala,
4
humala.
years of fundraising? Like, do you know what I mean?
But it's also like if you just did a good job, you would also get that fundraising. No.
But I don't think. I feel like their thing though is not that we do good job. Their whole identity that they've kind of adopted is that there's bad people and we're not as
Which
bad.
sucks because it's like you guys are also bad. You're all bad
Yeah.
people, and it's like when you give us, I mean, look, I feel like
I don't
I
think
don't know. Yeah,
anyone
I mean, we're
needs-
not gonna solve it,
Sure.
but it's just like
no one needs to love the. I think there's this weird thing about needing to love the president, even if you're on either side.
No.
Even if you were a Republican, why would you want to love the principle? It's
Yeah.
the principle.
Yeah,
you
the
should be
principle
critiquing
it's
them
sucks.
the principle.
nonstop.
Yeah.
Principle
Think
you
about the
sometimes
person who ran for class president.
Yeah.
Did you like him? No.
Yeah.
But you're like, I guess someone's got to be the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Never, dude.
Final segment.
You better count your blessings.
You better count your blessings. You go first. I got text.
Yeah,
by
I'm
editor.
I have it's kind of general, but I'm winding my time down at Titanic and
Are you in the show right now?
I am, yeah.
I watched it at Asylum over the summers, and I loved it.
Oh, cool.
Thought it was
I
fantastic.
wasn't in it yet.
No,
and-
I'm friends with Frankie, who was in the original class.
Oh yeah, Frankie.
Friends with
Yeah.
Frankie.
Yeah.
Frankie G.
Yeah.
G,
Oh,
baby.
yeah,
He
know him
was
well.
with Frankie. Yeah.
So I joined at the tail end of Asylum, and then I was doing it at the new theater.
Congratulations.
And then I left, and then I came back recently.
I love the
Think
show.
about the listeners who have heard this.
I know. I'm just
story.
telling
I
him.
know.
I don't care about the listeners.
Said that
Anyways,
so many times
so
before we even started recording. He was like, dude, these people fucking suck. They're garbage. Said a bunch of slurs as well, and like all of them. What you're thinking, worse.
Actually, wait, but no, my thing was going to be Debbie Downside to the listeners because there's been a nice thing.
I thought for a second I thought we were still doing This Gotta Stop, and I was like, no.
This gotta stop. Our listeners, no, no. Because I only have 3 weeks left. There's been a nice like string of steady stream of podcast listeners who have been coming to Titanic, and it's very nice, and,
Yeah, it's-
and it's very very sweet, and I feel very supported, and thank you for that.
That's very kind. Yes, it does. It certainly does feel like that. I was in Plano, Texas this past weekend, and just shocked. The feeling that I have is I go, how do we have so many listeners
In
here,
Plano, Texas,
but not that many overall? Are they all in Plano?
they're all in Plano.
Are they all in Plano? How did that happen?
Yeah.
No, real quick before I say my blessing, let me just I forgot to do it up top. Plug the Patreon because I'm also very thankful for the patrons. Patreon.com/downside. If you're on the fence, think about joining. Even if you don't want more content, it helps support the show. I think we're talking to Russ about doing a live East Coast mini tour of like 4 live shows. We got an LA show. I'll do this in the plugs. I fucked it up. Let me do a blessing. My blessing is we were looking for these glasses for the Eclipse, and this guy, there's one guy on the street. He lent me the glasses to look at the moon, the sun moon, and then another guy gave it to me. And the cool thing about the Eclipse is like it's a moment. It makes me think about when Biden won, where all these people are outside.
Dude, I led a parade in the middle of the pandemic on our streets in Echo Park.
Oh yeah,
I was fucking. I had a megaphone. We went out for.
I was
like 8
riddled
hours.
with COVID. It was the most depressing thing because you were like, I was riddled with it, and I went to the roof to be like, let me try and celebrate, and I was like, whoa, because people are down in the streets dancing, and I immediately was sweating and had to lay down again. It was so depressing that day in New York to not be able to go out. Everyone was like loving life. Man,
you were
opposite.
dancing. It was nuts.
I had the opposite day.
yeah.
It was a great one.
So it was just like such a nice moment
worried I was gonna
where
die.
it's like
Me, I had sex that
if you had
morning.
died.
I made love to somebody as soon as we heard people screaming. We were like, he won. And then we had beautiful sex. And then I went down on the street and then,
Oh man.
If you had
rejoiced.
died that day, it would have been tough because I still would have been happy.
No,
about
I was
the
like,
results.
but I was
sad about your
yeah.
death.
Oh my god! But it was like early enough where I wasn't sure if death was coming. It was only like day 2 or 3, so I was like, I have 10 more days to figure out if I'm going to live or not.
I like all your big events. His Broadway debut was also October 7th of last year.
Yeah.
And I just love every life moment. being
Every life
coupled
moment
with
is like,
some intense
this is
global.
really like bad for me. Yeah.
we got to start knowing when you're having big big moments because we got to alert like the FBI or Secret Service or something.
Yeah, your next bar debut, I'll send a text to Hamas.
Yeah.
Like, hey boys, careful.
Be careful.
So my blessing is just the guy who gave me the glasses. Just a nice reminder of there's moments of New York camaraderie, and it feels good.
Yeah. Oh, love those moments.
Yeah, when they're not punching strangers in the back of the head, sometimes they do hand you a pair of Eclipse glasses.
And ladies, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah. Ladies.
I shouldn't be doing
Working
that.
things out.
I'm just practicing my new prank channel.
Yeah. Next is
I shouldn't-
basketballs. Look out, ladies.
Yeah, I shouldn't-
basketball
I
right to the twat.
I shouldn't make myself the puncher. That's a horrible, horrible way to end this.
Do you have a blessing?
Yeah. So the blessing is just anything in general.
Yeah, like, but I think more specific. Like, if you said the art of clowning, I'd go, okay, let's get a little more specific. A specific
idea of the
person,
art of
a
clowning.
specific
The
moment.
idea of the art. Of,
Someone once said classically, and it wasn't where Russell wasn't there, so I was all alone, and he said music, and I was like, fuck, dude, that's not fun.
So that's why you had me come back and record again.
Uh-huh.
To me, I'd say my blessings right now. As I did that, I knocked over my hat and my headphones.
Watch the video, guys. You're missing out if you're just listening
Yeah.
on Spotify.
It's a killer physical comedy routine. The crowd's going crazy. You can't hear them, but they're not mic'd up, but they're going wild.
If you took off your sweater and you were wearing one of those shiny vests that Vigo wears, I would scream.
The thing is I have them.
Or a power drill. I think we'd throw.
God.
I am. I had some good ones, and then now I think I've let the pressure get to me a little bit.
Yeah.
about this blessing. But I would love to give a special shout out specifically to Brianne Jackson and Amelia Gorman, who are the two wonderful women who work on my show right now. They have facilitated everything we could have possibly asked for in this run. They've made me feel like I have a chance of belonging here and making it here, and and making me feel like I really could and maybe should even move here. And yeah, I love them. They're deeply supportive, and they've let us expense, like 15 remote control rats and a bunch of sandbags we drop from the ceiling in the middle of the show, and they clean up after every night. And yeah, I love them very much, and I'm very appreciative of them. And I hope God has a special plan for both of them.
That's very nice.
That's nice. Yeah.
And where can people find you?
Well, that's a question, isn't it? I'm currently, when this comes out, I might be back in Los Angeles. I have 3 shows for the Netflix is a Joke Festival. I'm doing Jack Tucker on May 9th, Stamptown the 10th and the 11th. We'll be back then in New York the following days doing Stamptown May 13 and 14. Vigo's going to be here for the first time.
Nice.
Oh, yeah?
His first time legally performing in America.
Wow.
Wow.
And I think his first time back here in about 6 or 7 years. Yeah, I'll be there. I'm doing some shows in London.
Wait,
over the
when's those
summer.
shows? May 13th and 14th?
Yeah, May 13th and 14th in New York. You in town?
Yeah. You Titanic still? Or are you done?
I'm done.
14th, you want to go?
Let's do it. Let's
Come watch
go.
it,
Go.
and then when you guys watch it and you come see it and you see a proper one, then we'll get
Are
you guys
tickets
on
on
back
sale
here.
now?
They sure are.
Okay, we'll get them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah,
We'll do it.
I've got a show in here next Tuesday, but I think we'll be gone by then. But yeah, I've got shows in New York, LA, and London coming up, and it would be rad if you guys came, and if we have announced our next Jack Tucker off Broadway dates by then, come see me Jack off Broadway.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Highest endorsement, Stamptown, and just everything Zach does. Really, check it out. It's so cool. I can't wait. We're gonna go.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm excited.
I kind of cornered you. I mean, you really had no
No,
choice. If you were like,
I feel good about it. I've been wanting to go.
You're doing that blinking
Just
Morse
like-
code thing again.
again, let me just say one more time. We got a Netflix is a joke. We're doing a live podcast taping. Tickets are going fast. This is May 3rd at the Comedy Store.
Yes.
You can smell Zach's vomit still
Yes.
from upstairs to downstairs. Check that out. That's at 7 p.m. with Moshe Kasher as our guest. And then Uncle Function, our sketch team's got a show. It will sell out.
And then also New Yorkers, Uncle Function is doing a show before we go out to LA, Monday, April 29th.
at the legendary
Pit
Pit Loft.
Loft, featured in this episode.
You can literally take a tour of some of Zach's worst performance memories
Yeah.
and see us live.
Yes.
And then join the Patreon. I know some of you guys are on the fence. It really helps us out. We're trying to build a little live tour, and you joining it means the world. Tell your friends. We are really growing. We're feeling the ball moving. So keep it going. Patreon.com/downside. And real quick, can we just get to where Hillary Clinton says that and then go right into the music.
Philippe, what's the difference for a woman in comedy than a man in comedy? Can they do the same thing?
Comedy is okay, but clown is more difficult.
Yes.
You're listening to The Downside
The Downside.
with Gianmarco Soresi.